What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Kev Mac videos. Today, we will be profiling Mr. Melvin Leroy Hardy, one of the founders of the West Side Crips.
Kev Mac video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby. Kev Mac video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul, represent your ghetto. Hold up, for the dime moves and the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you've been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf, I know them killers you kin to. This for the lost generation, broke as hell, mad and impatient. But if you know your history, you can't have a strong foundation, baby. Kev Mac video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby. Kev Mac video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby.
Melvin's parents, Leroy and Martha Hardy, were originally from Louisiana before they moved to Detroit in 1955. From there, Melvin Hardy was born. Melvin Leroy Hardy was born in the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, on September 13, 1955. Little did anyone know this boy's life would intertwine with the streets of Los Angeles, where he would shape the future of one of the most infamous gang movements throughout the city. In 1960, Detroit, Michigan was a city experiencing racial segregation, economic strife, and a building boom that pushed people out to the suburbs. In 1961, during the Civil Rights Movement, Melvin's family made a significant move, moving nearly 3,000 miles westward to California. They landed on the east side, on East 68th Street, between Hooper and Compton Avenue. There, he attended Miramonte Elementary School, Henry Clay Junior High School, and eventually the Wash House, Washington High School, forming the foundation for the journey ahead. By 1970, the Hardy family had moved once again, this time to the west side of Los Angeles, settling on 113th Street and Dinker Avenue in Westmont.
I'm the one met Melvin Hardy first. That was 1969. He moved on 113th Street. I met Melvin. The homies didn't like him because he grew up on the east side. So, but I met him and his family, and we was all cool. I happened to move in his house and everything. And the homies tried to jump, but Melvin was a fighter. Melvin fought, he wasn't scary, and then next thing I know, they liked his style, his get down. He became effective with us.
It was here, on these very streets, that Melvin would organize a group of teenagers calling themselves the Smacks. Though he would often joke that his crew were just nerds, he had unknowingly gathered a group of individuals who would soon become known as street fighters.
My homeboy, we had a gang of t-shirts called the Smacks. Smack t-shirts with Charlie Brown slapping Lucy. And it said Smack on it. And he passed out a whole box of them t-shirts to us in Jack in the Box. Back there on Pearl and Weston. It's Baskin Robin now used to be Lucy. So we had all these shirts. So we took all the shirts and everybody put one on. We walked on Pearl and Weston. And all the homegirls and homeboys come from Henry Clay and Washington. They like, who the hell y'all think y'all live? What did all do? Y'all got the same t-shirts on. Yeah, 'cause we the smack boys now.
The Hardy House on West 113th Street became the hub for him and his crew, a place to plan, plot, and engage in youthful horseplay. Melvin's crew would eventually come into conflict with the Inglewood Crips at Henry Clay Junior High School. Many attribute this altercation leading to the creation of the West Side Crips. While some say it was 1970, others argue that it wasn't until the spring of 1971 that the Smacks officially joined up with Raymond Washington's East Side creation.
In 1971, early 1971, we called ourselves the Smacks, a neighborhood gang, street fighting gang.
What's the roll call of the Smacks?
The roll call of the Smacks, Odie, Melvin Hardy, Mr. X, Warlock, Archie, No Talk, I go on, Michael Phillips, the main name was Michael Phillips, Larry Podrill, Ronnie Podrill, it was a whole bunch. It was about, when we first started, all Donald Moody, we all got them t-shirts. It was about Odie, it was about 20 or 30 deep when we started the Smacks.
What year was that?
The Smacks started in 1971.
We defended our neighborhood from Denver Lanes and other local gangs around. We went to Henry Clay, and one day Lonnie Keelan and Michael Christian, who were Inglewood Crips, and Lonnie Keelan, who was the cousin of Raymond Washington, had moved to Monroe Junior High in Inglewood and started the Inglewood Crips. The conflict with them led us to that following Sunday, to have a meeting with Raymond Washington. And Ray Washington came to the Rio show, and we were all there from the 60s to the 80s to the 100s, Horace Mann, Henry Clay, all the neighborhoods from Gardenia all the way down to Slauson.
What year was this?
This was in 71.
71.
Raymond Washington stood outside the show. Him and Verdi Swan, another original East Side Crips, they stood outside the show. And so during intermission time, we all went out and we saw him, And there had been a lot of guys that had migrated from the East Side that knew of him and knew he was a Crip, So after the intermission, we all went back, sit down. Raymond Washington came in and asked who was the Smacks. So we all stood up. I remember like it was yesterday, He asked who our leader was. At the time, we had a leader by the name of, what was his name? Larry. But anyway, in the process of Raymond Washington talking, Mike Conception said, man, we don't need to fight, let's join together. So what we did, we chose a meeting that Monday, that following day at Washington at 5 o'clock. And from there on, we were considered the original West Side Crips, no longer Smacks. That's when I met Raymond Washington at that particular time, and so we all stood up, Larry Podrill, Louis Conception, and all of us, we gathered around him, and like it was going, it was finna take off, and before that happened, we was all out in the lobby of the show, and Conrad Williams said, "That's Raymond Washington. I know Raymond Washington." You know what I'm saying? We went toe to toe, So that kind of enlightened what was going on, because I never met Raymond, never heard of him, anything. Straight West Side.
All right. So who was your leader, Tookie?
Tookie was never a leader of mine. Tookie was a leader of St. Andrews Park, but not really a leader of that, because Donald Archie had brought Tookie in, but he was a great influence, because him and Sweetback, Donald Archie was so tight, and they left Horace Mann and got kicked out of Horace Mann, and they always been tight.
I'm trying to find out who was your leader.
At the time, my leader always been the Padres.
Okay, so which one? Any in particular?
Larry Padre was the leader, the toughest, reputable street fighter, even in the even in the Sportsman Park hood where we lived at.
So he lived in the hunters before Melvin Hardy moved over.
Yeah, Melvin Hardy didn't move into the hunters until say around 70, say around 60, 68, 69, 70, 68 and 70.
What were the top names at the meeting at Washington High in '71? This meeting.
You got Mike Conception, Melvin Hardy, you got number one, Freeside Eki, you got Verdi Swan, Ray Washington, Eugene, you got Big Craig Craddock, rest in peace, myself, Melvin Hardy, a couple of the Moody brothers, Mike Conception, Johnny Burnett, Ron Burnett.
Tookie wasn't part of this meeting?
No, he hadn't got out yet. He was still incarcerated. He hadn't got out yet. He got out right after that. Right after that.
We found out that Melvin Hardy wound up knowing Raymond Washington.
Melvin Hardy had known Raymond Washington from his childhood days living on East 68th Street near Edison Junior High School.
Raymond Washington started the Baby Cribs. So they used to come on 113th Street to see Melvin Hardy. When they come to see Melvin Hardy, we all got introduced to Raymond and all the East Sides. Batman, Craig Craddock, number one, Eki, J-Dub, all of Dead Eye Clint, Alden Jones. So we became homies. They was Melvin homies. We became homies.
However, Melvin Hardy's influence didn't stop there. In Tookie's book, Blue Rage, Black Redemption, the author describes Melvin as one of Tookie's homeboys, someone who had even tried to take control of the West Side Crip leadership. But Melvin was quickly rebuffed, and so he returned to his neighborhood to form the original Blocc Crips, a key player in the evolution of the gang landscape. From West LA to the block, a lot of original Crips, including those in Melvin's circle, had once belonged to either the Harlem Crips or the Underground Crips, who stretched south of Florence Avenue all the way to Imperial Highway in the early 1970s. These groups would eventually evolve, laying the groundwork for the formation of several different gang alliances and other well-known factions.
What was the real show standoff about?
The real standoff show was about the Hampton Park boys didn't want to turn Crips up in the real show, because they was welcome to our show. We used to go to the horse stable up there on El Segundo, the horse stable, swimming, and they used to come over here with us and kick it, go to our show and stuff. And then when Powerful Pookie and AC came and got me, they said, man, homie just got into it with the Hampton Parks at the real show. So I wasn't there, I was at my mom's house. When I came through, I'm like, what's happening? So when we got there, everything was done. They stabbed a couple of homies and stuff, and that's when they became like, we started fighting them. So they said that they didn't want to turn Crip.
Before the blood thing came into play, who were the Crips fighting? These West Side, East Side Crips. Who were your enemies?
Well, we attended a lot of social events, and the Brims were the first, but since they were so remote from our location, our hoods, we didn't really get into them until later on. They joined up with the Van Ness boys, the Van Ness Brims, Norville, they came all together, to go up against us. We had chain gang, chain gangs, which turned into the families. The family, Jan Brewer and all them guys were original Crips. They used to run by exception down in Henry Clay, and he turned family, you know. We had Sportsman Park Boys, we had rivalries with them, those rivalries were to establish our turf and our boundaries. And that was in 1971.
So the blood phenomenon. When did you guys take notice that you guys had competition and it was on the rise? When did you guys take notice?
When we started fighting and killing each other, we looked up and bam.
What year do you give the killings?
The killings came in like 75, 76, at 76, 77, that second generation after us.
What bloods come to mind back then to you?
Well, some of the Prims were some of the toughest bloods. The families were so-so. Chain gangs, they were so-so. The Denver Lanes, they were tough. The bounty hunters, they were tough. Let's see, the outlaws, they like the gun, they were tough. All those established games, they were tough.
I mean, what blood enemy would you give the West Side Crips, the original? Which one did you guys pay attention to the most?
We paid attention to the families at first. The families, mostly the families, chain gang, because they were so close. Our borderline is Van Ness between them and us. Now they went to Crenshaw, But if you can't cross your West Side Crip and you cross Van Ness and you go too deep towards Crenshaw, like the shopping center on Crenshaw and Imperial, it's not safe havens over there. You have to be ready.
By 1973, the Blocc, Underground, and Neighborhood Crips had emerged in the hundreds, forming a collective presence that still exists today, with Melvin Hardy having played a pivotal role in this evolution. It was during this time Bob Simmons opened up a boys' home in Compton, and Tookie headed to Compton to run a boys' home.
Bob Simmons moved from Banning, and they moved to the Red House.
Bob published a small Compton newspaper with an article called The Baddest, with Buddha, Little James, Warlock, Melvin Hardy, Sweetback, Monk, and Tookie on the cover. Seeking a better life, Melvin eventually moved to Northern California, where he worked to raise his family away from the increasingly gang-populated communities he left behind in Los Angeles. In 2005, Melvin returned to Los Angeles to attend Tookie's funeral, reconnecting with many of his old comrades. A testament to lasting bonds formed on the streets, Melvin's journey was far from over. 2 years later, in 2007, I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Melvin Hardy when he stopped by the All Hood Publications office on West Slauson Avenue to visit Baby S. Mac and me. We shared stories, corrected misinformation, and discussed the true history of the gangs, a history often misunderstood by many. Melvin transitioned August 24th, 2017. He had a beautiful celebration of life with a number of notable friends from his youthful days as the general of the Blocc in Westmont. Through the streets of Los Angeles, Melvin Hardy's legacy remains entrenched in the story of the Crips, and his journey from Detroit to the West Coast reflects the resilience of a man who, despite the chaos around him, worked to leave a different legacy for his family. His story is not just about gang life, but about survival, change, and redemption. Rest in peace, Mr. Melvin Hardy. Much love. If you guys enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Don't be afraid to leave a comment. We appreciate you here, your home of authentic gang histories.
This is Los Angeles.